Hey ninjas, welcome back. In this video, we'll be looking into your website traffic for e-commerce stores. Also what it means, how much you need to hit your sales goals, and most importantly, how to get more of it. I'll also share with you 3 most common mistakes I see when it comes to website traffic in e-commerce, and honestly I say this all the time, so make sure you stay until the end. And regardless guys, if you're new to e-commerce or if you've been in the game for a while, stick until the end because this information will bring you some new angles on e-commerce website traffic. Hi, my name is Silvia Myers and I'm one of the co-founders of the Traffic Ninjas. Hooyah! If you're new to us and new to this channel, we talk about the little known untapped ways in e-commerce and how to make it really work for your small business, even if you've got limited resources. Now, the reason why we do that is because frankly, we're not big business ourselves and most of the strategies out there don't work for small businesses. So we've had to learn the hard way so that you guys don't have to. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so that you don't miss out on any of our future videos. Alright then, well, what is traffic? Believe or not, traffic are actually people coming to your website. It's kind of like store visitors, right? So you've opened your store and for most of you guys, you just feel like the visitors will just arrive, right? But imagine that you open your store in a shopping mall, but instead of the main route or the main hallway where people come in all the time, imagine you kind of open it in basement -2 behind the lock. That's kind of what opening an e-commerce store is. And people will not just naturally show up. People will have to know where your store is. People will have to know about your store. Somebody will have to promote it, or at least they're going to have a way where they can stumble across your store. So it is really important for you to understand that website traffic is nothing else but essentially visitors coming to your store, just like in a shopping mall, and you want as many of them as possible. Now, do you want any type of visitors though? Like, let's talk about quality and quantity, okay? Because some of you, I know you just want to get traffic and you just go out there and get all kinds of traffic. But imagine you're selling like high-end products and you get all of the afternoon school crowd kids who just come in, and walk around. Like, that's not necessarily what you want, okay? You want people who essentially going to be highly converting traffic for your store. If kids or parents of these kids are your ideal customers and they're going to really convert, then perfect. But you need to understand what is quality and what is quantity. For example, the other thing I see all the time is that e-commerce entrepreneurs advertise in countries that give them cheap traffic. Like, instead of advertising in the US, they say like, oh, but US is really expensive. I advertise in Honduras, or I advertise in India, or I advertise in African regions. That's great. It's going to get you some numbers. It's going to get you some views, but it's not going to be as highly converting as high quality traffic specifically for your business, where people actually have the money and are ready to pull out their wallet and buy. And the reason why I'm saying this, the reason why I'm talking about regions, is because obviously it's not just about the density of people, but it's about the purchasing parity people have, okay? And in some regions, like for example in India or some African regions, there's obviously a very big divide between the rich and the poor. So you essentially have very little control of what kind of traffic you are going to get. So that's very important. The next thing, after you understand quality and quantity and you understand like who is actually my quality person that I want to attract, because that's very important, make sure you really understand like who is your ideal avatar. After you've got that, you're probably asking like, how much traffic do I need? Like, how many of these visitors do I need? Because honestly, like probably 3 times a week, I have people telling me like, hey Silvia, I've got a ton of traffic but no sales. And then I ask like, hey, what does it mean? Like, what is a ton of traffic for you? Well, I had 75 visitors coming to my store and nobody bought. Something must be wrong with my store. I've discounted the product and I changed the images and all of that kind of, I call it mumbo jumbo, and they still didn't buy. So guys, if you've got 75 visitors coming to your store, please do not change images and do not discount your products, because that is not the reason why you don't have any sales yet. You've got to understand that in a well-converting e-commerce store, most of the time people buy on average out of 100 visitors, most of the time there is 1 up to 4 sales, okay? If it's 5, then that's like killer store. So most of the time for most stores, it's out of 100 quality visitors, not any type of visitors, 100 quality visitors, we've got 1 to 4, between 1 and 4 sales. Okay, so that's very important. So first of all, if you're not sure that those visitors who came to your website are really high quality and are your ideal customer, then instead of 100 to see a sale, you might need 2 or 3 or 400. Okay, so first of all, we need to attract those ideal customers to your store so that out of each 100 visitors, you can get 1 to 4 sales. And how are we going to do that? How are we going to get more traffic to your store? So there's essentially 2 ways, okay? 2 simple ways. We either talk about what we call paid traffic, or we talk about what we call free traffic, okay? So what is paid traffic? Paid traffic is essentially paying some sort of a platform to get you that ideal customer, okay? You give them some specifications and they give you that ideal customer. For example, paid traffic could be coming from social media. Social media such as Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or even Pinterest. Now, most entrepreneurs, when they first get into this, they're like, oh, I'm boosting posts on Facebook and, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Most business owners do that at the beginning. However, this can be a giant waste of your money and of your time. The reason for that is because all of these social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest, they work on what we call interests. They essentially collect behavior of what these users are doing on social media platforms and then try to put an ad in front of them that's as relevant as possible. So what's really important for you to understand is what are the interests of your ideal customer. Is your ideal customer interested in female fashion? Is your ideal customer interested in coffee? Is your ideal customer interested in sustainability or boutique product? Is your ideal customer interested in crafts market? Is your ideal customer interested in design? You get me, right? So it's really important for you to understand what those interests are so that you can get that paid traffic from social media effectively, okay? Very important. Now, for full disclosure, about 1.5 years ago, there's been new privacy changes all across the world on social media platforms, and as a result, these advertising platforms are not as accurate as they used to be in the past. So always work out for yourself, how much are you willing to pay to these social media giants to essentially get traffic to your store, just to make sure that you are not gambling your money away, because unfortunately I have done that in the past and I don't want you guys to do the same. All right, the next type of paid traffic is paid traffic from search engines like Google or YouTube. Now, these two are slightly different to social media. The reason being is because for Google and YouTube, you are not so much interested in what is your ideal customer interested in, like you're not guessing, but essentially what you're doing is you are looking for what they are searching for. Now, the good thing about Google and YouTube is that these search engines have not been affected by the privacy changes such as social media have, because they're based on essentially that product demands. So when I'm going to Google and I'm searching for yellow dress with, flower print, yellow dress with flower print, then Google can read it. They don't need to know about me anything. They don't need to know how old I am, where I live. They don't need to know what friends I have. They don't need to know what other websites I've been to, because they know what I want. So this is amazing power that the search engines have over social media. And so essentially that's how you target people on Google or YouTube if you want to get more website e-commerce traffic from these search engines. Now, the other type of paid traffic that you could decide to go for are what we call influencers or affiliates. Now, influencers or affiliates are essentially people who have some sort of a following on either social media accounts or even on YouTube, wherever they are, and they essentially might be a good partner for you to promote your product. One of the things that I would suggest you to do if you're a small business owner, or perhaps if you're just starting out, make sure you go after the small ones, okay? Because if you're going after a giant influencer that essentially has already partnered with so many brands, they're gonna want money up front. You don't want any of that, okay? Because you don't know, is this even gonna work for me? Like, is this influencer essentially going to be able to sell my product, because do they align to my values or the values of my brands. Okay, so my advice would be always go after the small ones and create a deal with them when you only pay after they make the sales. Once they start selling your product, then you can agree to pay them a percentage of those sales. I personally wouldn't be paying upfront. I've made the mistake before and I wouldn't do that again. All right, so now that we've got paid traffic covered, let's go to free traffic, because free traffic is really what we all want more of. But once again, not just any kind of traffic. We want free traffic that's of high quality, very highly likely to convert. Get it? Amazing. So essentially when it comes to free traffic, again, we talk about similar types of tools. We talk about the search traffic on search engines such as Google or YouTube, and we talk about organic traffic from social media. So what is organic traffic from social media? Let's start with that. So essentially, have you seen people like talking about they're setting up a business page on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook and talking about their product? That's essentially what we refer to as social media organic traffic. One thing you want to be aware of when it comes to that is that essentially the more active you are on that platform, the more likely you're going to get views and then clicks to your website. If you're going to get views and you're not going to get any clicks, guys, that does not count for anything. So don't waste your efforts and be active on social media for years and years and years to have views without actually having any clicks to your website or without that generating traffic, okay? So there's always going to have to be some sort of what we call call to action. When you talk about something on social media, when you introduce your product, then you're gonna ask these people to take action. Hey, go to this website. Hey, get this product before it sells out. Hey, comment below if you want the coupon code or whatever that is, okay? Now, one thing you've got to be aware on social media is that followers are actually the old currency, right? In the past, it was all about hey, how many followers have you got? Have you got 100,000 followers on Facebook or Instagram or, wherever that is? Guys, that is the old currency. Why? Because the algorithm on social media organic reach changes all the time. And in fact, there have been entire businesses that were essentially dependent on having 1 million followers on Facebook before the account got shut down. Ouch. Okay? So you never want to have all of your eggs in that basket. Followers are great, but that's not essentially the currency. The currency from social media organic traffic, when we're essentially talking about getting website traffic for your e-commerce store, is really what we call the reach. Okay, the reach. How many people have you reached with your post or with your video? Some of the most successful posts out there I've seen was essentially with 23 followers getting a reach of 800,000 views that resulted into many, many clicks and many, many sales, okay? So guys, reach is more important than followers. Don't track followers, track reach, okay? Very important. Now, how do you get more reach? You need to understand what's trending. And how do you know what's trending? Well, you need to spend a little bit of time scrolling through the social media feed, making sure that you follow your competitors. Always follow your competitors and see what got reach for them and try to do something similar. And the more you're going to do it, the better you're going to get in that. The more reach you're going to get, the more clicks, the more sales. But do I have a magic pill for social media? No, sorry, I don't have a magic pill, but this is a way how you can get a lot of website traffic for your e-commerce store for free, but of course you have to work it. Now, the last part I'm going to talk about, and this is super important, and this is what we call the ninja way, essentially is getting free traffic from search engine, Google, okay? Some of you are like, yeah, are you talking about SEO? No, guys, I'm not talking about SEO, okay? I'm not talking about SEO because SEO or search engine optimization when it comes to website traffic for e-commerce is essentially slow, it's crazy competitive, and it does not always lead to transactions, okay? Remember quality traffic. When we talk about website traffic for e-commerce, we always want to have that traffic that converts to sales. In e-commerce, we want to have traffic that converts to sales always, okay? Some of the things that I want you to start thinking about when it comes to establishing your store to be essentially search friendly and get all of that free traffic from Google is to start understanding what is the intent that I want this person to have when they come to my store. For example, I mentioned previously, are they looking for a yellow midi dress with floral print? Okay, so this is what we call a ninja phrase. Yellow dress with floral print is what we call a ninja phrase, okay? And the whole secret in getting free website traffic for your e-commerce store from sources such as Google is to essentially go for the untapped ninja phrases. Why am I saying that? Guys, because there is 8.5 billion, I'm not kidding, billion searches per day in Google. 8.5 billion searches per day on Google, and most of these searches are completely untapped. It's going to be super easy for you to get in, get the traffic, get the website traffic for your e-commerce store, but you've got to spend a bit of time doing what we call the phrase mining. So the phrase mining is essentially a process where you really go for the untapped. You're really digging for those phrases that you have to include inside your e-commerce store to get that website traffic. But those phrases, guys, are worth gold. Okay, so it does pay off to spend a little bit of time doing that. If you do want to know more on how to do the phrase mining process, then we've got another video on that. Now, once you have those phrases, you then do what we call phrase modeling. Essentially, I found the ninja phrase that I need to include on my website. All you have to do is include that ninja phrase inside your website and model what the number one result is right now. So for example, if I mine the phrase floral yellow midi dress, so I type it into the Google and I see the first result that pops up, and I essentially model what those guys do to be able to beat that result. It's exciting, and it can honestly happen very, very fast. You've got to mine the ninja phrases, and you have to make sure you spend time in there. Okay, it's 80 to 90% of your time needs to be spent on the mining. And honestly, guys, like, these are golden nuggets. Like, some of our customers have literally like made tweak within 5 minutes. Once they had the right phrase, they made tweaks that literally took them 5 minutes, and within like a week they had like 58% more traffic. That's incredible. All right, now most common mistakes when it comes to free traffic from search engines such as Google. Most common mistakes I see is that, first of all, entrepreneurs go for the wrong intent. Okay, they go for something that is not going to lead to a conversion. Let me give you an example. How can I match my dress with my shoes? Well, that's nice. But if you're selling, like, if you're creating content that's about like, how do I match this dress with my shoes? If you identify that as a ninja phrase, that's going to be nice, and it might get you some traffic, but it's not necessarily going to get you sales because that person is looking for something how to, okay? Whilst if you mine a ninja phrase that's about like yellow, high heel, shoes, closed, cocktail dress, then that's going to be so specific, so conversion driven, that essentially it will be much easier to convert that to sales. So most common mistake, number one, is essentially going for the wrong intent when it comes to your ninja phrases. Second most common mistake is that I've seen entrepreneurs, when it comes to website traffic for e-commerce, go for ninja phrases that are highly competitive, like fashion boutique or like yoga apparel, or like, cool gadgets. All of these ninja phrases will be just so competitive that you might be able to essentially get some what we call impressions. You might do a lot of work on your website to get what we call impressions and like seem like you're gonna get some traffic, but nobody will ever click on your page and you're never gonna get a website traffic for your e-commerce store. Why? Because, guys, it's very important when it comes to free traffic that you essentially rank not on the first page, that you are within the first 3 results, like literally within the first 3 results. Why? Because 97% of website traffic for e-commerce stores is essentially split between the first top 3 results, because the attention span for us humans is like 8.5 seconds, which is less than a goldfish. So most people will never go past those top 3, and most will never go to the second page. Okay, so the third most common mistake when it comes to website traffic for e-commerce stores, and particularly for free traffic that comes from search engines, is essentially going for ninja phrases that have no potential to get traffic at all. For example, if you have a fashion store and your fashion store is called Suzanne's Boutique, and everything on your e-commerce store is about Suzanne's Boutique, well, guess what? People are not searching for Suzanne's Boutique. And this is one of the major differences that people will do optimize for when they're doing SEO or search engine optimization. We don't want to do that because first of all, it doesn't have the right intent. Second, there is no traffic coming from that at all, okay? So do not go for branded terms. Do not go for essentially ninja phrases that don't have any traffic in the first place. Remember, what you want is the right visitors to your website. You want quality visitors over quantity. Always go for quality over quantity. How are you going to do that? You have to define who is your ideal high quality customer. Now remember, you need at least 100 high quality visitors coming to your website so that you can make from 1 up to 4 sales. Very, very important. How are you going to do that? Either free sources or paid sources, and then there is always social media versus search engine. Each of them is slightly different and each of them has different advantages and disadvantages. Social media is essentially based on the platform's understanding what the interests are, and that's great if you're doing paid traffic. If you're doing free traffic or organic, then those algorithms can change any moment, okay? Followers are worth nothing without reach. Reach is more important than followers. Now, when it comes to search engines, we either can do paid traffic on Google or on YouTube, and paid traffic makes sure that it's connected to actually what that ideal customer is searching for, okay? And what is the intent. And the same when it comes to free traffic, we essentially need to go for the untapped ninja phrases that honestly, like, over 95% of businesses out there just do not go for, and therefore there is this whole blue ocean full of high quality customers that cannot wait to purchase products from you, but they just need to know about you, because that's all what website traffic for e-commerce is people coming to your store, knowing that your store exists, having the right intent, and purchasing from you. So guys, if you haven't subscribed yet and haven't hit the like button yet, make sure you do that now. Also post comments below. Let us know what do you like to see more of, and I cannot wait to see you in the next video. Whew.